Welcome to a secluded corner of our world, not far from Power headquarters, but no one we know has been here until now. Adventure Motorcycling India for a long time was like that. They were thinner on the ground than common sense. And that's strange, right? For a country like ours, where the best roads are lumpy and the worst ones are everywhere you look. But times have changed. We have adventure motorcycles from 1 to 30 lakh rupees. And I personally know that if you want to be outside in our country riding happily, once you go ADV, you won't go back. That doesn't rhyme, but it makes total sense. And today, joining that party is the orange firecracker, the KTM 250 Adventure. It will make a smaller dent in your bank balance than the 390 Adventure by between 55 and 60,000 rupees depending on where you are. And just look at the promise. It's got the amazing engine from the 250 Duke, the engine that we've called the sweetest of all KTM so far. But how does it go adventuring? Let's find out. The headlight is a dead giveaway that you're riding the 250 and that's not the 390. It stands at the front of a list of features that the 390 absolutely refused to share with the 250. I mean, what happened to sharing is caring? But the lower price point obviously has implications, right? So that's a steel handlebar, not an aluminium one. You get an LCD screen, not KTM's TFT, although the layout is very similar. And with the disappearance of the TFT goes any chance at Bluetooth fanciness. At front, you get organic brake pads, not the sintered ones from the 390. It does have traction control, but it comes from your wrist. And if you want a quick shifter on the 250 Adventure, move your toes faster. But the 390's bodywork and size have made it to the 250 unscathed. So under the new stickering is one of the largest, most spacious motorcycles in this class. The rider's seat is flat and hard, and to me, that's a good thing. It means you'll be able to move around, and in my experience, the more you ride, the better stiffer seats work. Soft seats, they're for errands, not adventures. The 250, like the 390, will also suit larger riders both in height and width, and those who want to carry pillions or luggage out on the highway. Given that the 250 has 15 bhp less approximately than the 390, the fact that it will be a slower motorcycle overall, well, that's not hard to fathom. Luckily, KTM did take across the lower gearing from the 250 Duke onto the engine, so that does help. But 6 extra kilos in the adventure format and the tuning for BS6 both together, that's not proved to be a good combination for this engine. Off-road, you will be stalling the 250 Adventure quite a bit until you learn to grab a lot more revs than really should be needed. The engine, it comes alive at about 3,500 RPM, that's where the torque is. And the sweet spot that we talk about when we say 250 Duke, well, for this engine, it's between 4 and 6,000 RPM. That's about 70 to 100 kilometers an hour in 6th gear. And you want to stay in that range because if you do, the 250, it's lovely. There are some peg vibes after 6,000 RPM, but thrashy sound aside, the KTM engine has no refinement issues. It's smooth between 4 and 6,000, and yes, it does require you to shift gears quite a bit. The engine goes into what is effectively the exact same chassis as the 390 Adventure, so it's no surprise that the 250 darts into corners happily. And the ride quality is very stiff. Unfortunately, the MRF tires seem to noticeably be either heavier or stiffer in carcass terms than the 390's Metzeler's. And that means that while speeding up on the 390 on broken roads and in the dirt seems to sort out things, the 250 never really settles. Off-road, you must stand up on the 250 or you will have some of your organs reorganized. But let me reiterate, the 250 Adventure is a decent road bike, but it isn't an off-roader for me. The 19-inch front wheel will allow you to manage 2 tracks and some dirt for sure. But matched to low ground clearance for an off-road bike and only a little bit more suspension travel than the Duke, anything more complicated than that will require hard work or lots of skill. So, the 250 Adventure has highway legs, space and that stance. But what if you insist on going where the roads don't? Then what do?
It's simple. You get a BMW G310 GS. The GS badge is to bulletproof adventure bikes what McDonald's is to fast food. The 310 is the smallest one of the lot, and in that sense, it's the bike BMW hopes beginners will like, develop a taste for, and let's just say it, future business.
But it didn't go well for BMW, to be honest. The debut prices saw many people cross it off their list, and the level of vibrations were just too high. This is a GS. It's not a phone on silent mode, you know. In the BS6 edition, BMW have worked on both of these things. So is this ready to be the off-road capable tourer of your dreams? Let's GS or let's get started.
The 313cc single feels quite different from the BS4 version of itself. TVS showed that vibration could be tackled and no surprise, the GS engine is now smooth enough for you to not complain. Past 100 km per hour, there is some vibration, but it's a lot less than before. And honestly, most of the 250s in India cruise at around 100 km per hour in highway mode. So that is, at the very least, par for the segment.
But the engine isn't what has truly been impressive about the GS from day one. It has to be the suspension setup, and it works really well with the low and mid-range grunt of the engine. I'm telling you, the setup is really, really good. On the road, the GS just glides over everything, and when you're off it, it puts your mind at ease, working in sync with the varying terrain as you carry on riding. The brakes and the tires complete a package that feels equally happy, both on the road and off it.
The riding position, the narrow waist, and so many other factors chime in to make the G310 GS a very comfortable, very sophisticated feeling motorcycle to ride compared to most of the other bikes it competes with. Yes, there are faster motorcycles on sale for its price, but the quality and feel will be hard to match. In a sense, the GS could, potentially, change the one thing we have come to expect of the off-road capable adventure motorcycle package. That the Royal Enfield Himalayan, yes, rupees 1 lakh cheaper and all that, is the all-rounder that's doing the business. GS might be more expensive. Okay, a lot more expensive. But this time around the package is also a lot more persuasive. I am impressed. But where does the BMW G310 GS sit once the KTM 250 Adventure joins the ride?
So good to see you. Why didn't you tell me you were also coming here? We would have ridden together.
In some ways, we actually did, but I don't think the KTM would have taken on some of the trails that I took with the GS.
Yeah, you're probably right. This is easier to ride than the 390 though, and primarily because it's not got that much power, so you have less to deal with. But that sharp front end, so good out on the road. Off-road, it's a little bit too lightweight. The GS is that good?
The GS is actually good for easy to moderate trails, but once the trails start getting harder, it's actually a matter of how good or how skilled you are at off-road riding.
And how deep your wallet goes also, because that's a BMW.
Yep, it's definitely not in the KTM zone for sure, but with what I hear, BMW have revised their prices for spares and service, and now the GS will be easier to drop.
Huh? What?
I mean to drop, pick up, repair, and then carry on riding. Tell me one thing, how was the KTM on the roads that you took?
I'm going to say it was okay, man. I think BS6 has taken some of the sweetness out of the 250cc engine from the Duke. So you remember how nice it felt always? On this motorcycle, it's a much narrower rev band. And I think the other change are these tires. So they're stiffer than the Metzlers, I think. So together with the stiff suspension, this motorcycle sort of bounces around and stays unsettled, and it's a little bit uncomfortable.
So in that case, who would you recommend the KTM to?
Well, what's turned out is that the 250 Adventure is a lively, hoppity-jumpity sort of motorcycle, and it tours fairly well. I mean, it's got the performance to do it. But if that's your temperament, then this you will get along with. Unfortunately, even off-road, it remains a motorcycle that has got, well, no chill at all. In fact, it's strange, but it always feels like there's too much air in the tires. And today, that's not the case. I've checked. This is what KTM recommends.
Wow. The GS, on the other hand, is a calm, serene, high-quality motorcycle that does tours really well if that's your temperament. It does the off-road section quite well too. But you will have to shell about 40,000 rupees more than the KTM boys.
Yes, and don't forget to account for the fact that it has more expensive spares and the dealership network is smaller.
So, Editor Sahab, who wins?
Wait, when did this become a comparison test? Okay, so if we had to pick a winner, I guess it would have to be the GS, right? It seems to be able to straddle the road and the off-road side of the sub 3 lakh rupee adventure motorcycle class, and that would have to be the winner.
I would say in that case, we all win.
Why are you talking like this? What does that mean?
I mean to say that you keep saying that adventure motorcycles are for everyone and it's become so accessible now. And these two motorcycles are sitting right in the heart of things, especially when riders want to get serious about riding.
Nailed it. We love blaming the equipment, don't we? We say, hey, I can't go off-road. Have you seen my motorcycle? But my friends, the excuses are getting thin on the ground because the equipment choices are going up every single day.
And you don't need a special motorcycle to try it either. All you have to do is be excited, show up, and try it.
Trust me, being outside on a motorcycle is a lot more fun than having an excuse not to.
And here's the contest question for this video. These two motorcycles, they share their engines with a couple of other motorcycles. So who does the BMW G310 GS share its engine with?
And who does the KTM 250 Adventure share its engine with?
Two lucky winners stand a chance to win the Linden's Organizer, which is coming through the way of big bad bikes. And all you have to do is follow 3 simple rules.
1. Subscribe to Powerdrift. 2. Subscribe to Powerdrift on Instagram. We are at Powerdrift. And 3. Name one motorcycle and leave that as a comment right here. And I'm going to use my new sign-off line because Varun always sees you later, and I'm going to use a very dramatic new line that I've invented. Bye. I would like to state for the record that some of the cakes that we were eating on this shoot were expired, and I don't know what's going to happen next. मुझे बहुत डर लग रहा है वारुण. Okay, oh, seriously. Hey KTM, couldn't you have given like orange colored coolant fluid? It would have made that reservoir look nicer, no? Sorry. Sorry. But the lower price point, sorry, there's something in my nose. Sorry. Welcome. Hey, shut up. I know you're excited to see me, but please, control yourself.
This was the take 2.
Oh no, these jokes get worse. Alright.
We don't really need a reason to complain, right? I mean, there is something out there and I've completely forgotten my...